My name is Maya. I'm 29 years old. And 3 weeks ago, I watched my father collapse in a courtroom chair, unable to answer a single question from my attorney. Not because he didn't know the answer, because the truth would have destroyed everything he'd spent 2 years hiding. My brother stole $95,000 from me. He opened a business loan in my name, used my social security number, forged my signature on documents I'd never seen. And when I finally discovered what he'd done, my parents looked me in the eye and told me they'd known the whole time. They called me heartless for pressing charges. They said I was tearing this family apart over money. They organized an intervention with 15 relatives to convince me to drop the case. But before I tell you what my attorney asked my father, before I explain the question that made him break down in front of a packed courtroom, I need to take you back to the beginning. Back to when I still believed that family meant something. Back to when I trusted the people who raised me. If you've ever felt like the invisible one in your own family, if you've ever been told you're overreacting when someone hurt you, this story is for you. Where are you watching from right now? What time is it where you are? Drop a comment below, because I want to know who's here with me. Let me start 4 months ago, on the morning my entire world shifted. I've always been careful with money. Growing up, I had to be. My older brother Kevin was the star of our family, the firstborn son, the one my parents poured everything into. Private baseball coaching, a brand new car at 16, his entire college tuition paid without question. Me? I worked 2 jobs through community college. I paid for my own apartment. I built my credit score from scratch, one responsible payment at a time. By 29, I had a 760 credit score and enough saved for a down payment on my first home. A small house in Austin, nothing fancy, but mine. I'd been pre-approved for a mortgage. I'd already picked out paint colors for the nursery because my daughter Lily was 18 months old and deserved a backyard to play in. Single motherhood wasn't the plan, but when Lily's father left during my pregnancy, I adapted. I always adapted. That's what I did. That's who I was. The one who figured things out while everyone else fell apart. My parents never helped with Lily. Not financially, not with babysitting, not with anything. But they helped Kevin buy his condo. They co-signed his car loan. They loaned him $20,000 to start his landscaping business 3 years ago. A loan he never repaid. I never complained. What was the point? The dynamic had been set since childhood. Kevin needed support. Maya handled things on her own. I didn't know that my ability to handle things had made me a target. I didn't know that my silence, my self-sufficiency, my endless capacity to manage alone had been observed, cataloged, weaponized. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 4 months ago, I still believed my family loved me. I still thought blood was thicker than betrayal. I was about to learn how wrong I was. The notification came on a Wednesday morning. Lily was in her high chair, smearing banana across her face, and I was checking my email before work. Mortgage application update. My heart jumped. This was it. The house. I opened the email. Dear Miss Thompson, we regret to inform you that your mortgage application has been denied due to significant changes in your credit profile since your pre-approval. Please contact our office at your earliest convenience. I read it 3 times. Significant changes. That made no sense. I hadn't opened any new accounts, hadn't missed any payments, hadn't done anything except wait for my dream to come true. I pulled up my credit report with shaking hands. The number on the screen made me drop my phone. 418. 4 months ago, I'd been at 760. You don't lose over 300 points by accident. You don't lose 300 points without something catastrophic happening. I scrolled down. A business loan. $95,000. Opened 14 months ago in my name, for a company called KT Landscape Solutions. The account was in default. 6 months of missed payments. Collections activity. Legal action pending. KT Landscape Solutions. Kevin Thompson. My brother's initials. My brother's business. I sat at my kitchen table while my daughter babbled happily, and I felt the floor drop out from under me. It couldn't be Kevin. It couldn't be. Yes, he was irresponsible. Yes, he'd borrowed money he never returned. But this was a federal crime. This was prison time. This was my brother. I called the lending company. My voice didn't sound like mine. There must be a mistake. I never opened this account. I've never heard of this business loan. The woman on the other end was professionally sympathetic. Ma'am, we have your signed application on file, your social security number, your driver's license, your employment verification. The funds were disbursed to a business account 14 months ago. I didn't sign anything. A pause. Would you like me to email you a copy of the application? Yes. The document arrived 2 minutes later. I stared at my signature at the bottom of the page. It looked like mine, almost exactly like mine, but I had never signed it. I had never seen this form in my life. The business address listed was my parents' house. The personal address listed was my old apartment, the one I'd lived in 3 years ago, before Lily, before everything. And in the contact information section, next to phone number, was a number I recognized immediately. Kevin's cell. I should have called him right then. I should have demanded an explanation. But I did something else first. I called my mother. Maybe it was habit. Maybe it was hope. Maybe I needed to hear her say this was all a mistake, that Kevin would never do this, that there was an explanation I hadn't considered. Mom, I need to ask you something. Did Kevin open a business loan using my information? Silence. Too long. Too heavy. Maya, let me call you back. She hung up, and I knew. In that moment, I knew that my mother had just confirmed everything with her silence. She hadn't said no. She hadn't said that's crazy. She hadn't said of course not. She'd hung up. My mother called back 3 hours later. I was at work, hiding in the bathroom, trying not to cry in front of my coworkers. Maya, you need to come to dinner on Sunday. Your father and I want to talk to you about this, and Kevin will be there. Talk about what? Just come to dinner. We'll explain everything. I should have said no. I should have gone straight to the police. But that stupid, hopeful part of me, the part that still wanted to believe in my family, agreed to wait. Sunday. I could wait until Sunday, but I couldn't wait until Sunday to search for answers. That night, after I put Lily to bed, I went through everything. Bank statements, old mail, the filing cabinet where I kept important documents, and I found something that made my blood run cold. 18 months ago, Kevin had asked to borrow my laptop. We were at our parents' house for Thanksgiving. His phone was dead, he said. He just needed to check something real quick. I handed it over without thinking. He disappeared into the other room for half an hour. I went to my cloud storage. Checked the access logs. 18 months ago, on Thanksgiving Day, someone had opened every document in my important files folder: tax returns, bank statements, a scanned copy of my driver's license, my social security card, everything you'd need to steal someone's identity. I scrolled through my text messages with Kevin. The patterns jumped out at me now. 2 years ago. Hey, what's your old address? The one before you moved? I'm updating my emergency contacts. I'd sent it without thinking. 18 months ago. What was Mom's maiden name again? I keep forgetting for these security questions. Williams, I'd typed back. Around the same time. What's your social? I want to add you to my family cell plan. Cheaper that way. 9 digits. Sent with a heart emoji. The keys to my entire financial identity. He'd been collecting pieces of me for months. Patient, methodical, waiting. I went to Sunday dinner with evidence printed in a folder. Texts. Access logs. The loan application with his phone number on it. Kevin was already there when I arrived, sitting on the couch, watching football, drinking a beer like nothing was wrong. My parents were in the kitchen, voices low. I walked in and put the folder on the coffee table. Did you open a $95,000 loan in my name? Kevin didn't even look away from the TV. Come on, Maya. Don't be dramatic. Look at me. He turned his head slowly. His expression was annoyed, not guilty. Yeah, I used your name. So what? I needed the capital for the business. My credit was shot. I was going to pay it back before you ever found out. You've missed 6 months of payments. It's in collections. My credit score dropped over 300 points. He shrugged. Things got tight. It happens. I lost my house, Kevin. The house I've been saving for 5 years. They denied my mortgage because of what you did. My mother appeared in the doorway. Maya, please calm down. We can discuss this like adults. You knew, I said. I called you Wednesday, and you hung up on me. How long have you known? Silence. How long? My father walked in behind my mother. Since the beginning, he said quietly. We co-signed the loan. The words hit me like a physical blow. You what? Kevin needed help. His credit wasn't good enough to get approved on his own. We couldn't co-sign because of our debt-to-income ratio, so we suggested he use a family member with better credit. You suggested he commit fraud using my identity? It's not fraud if it's family, my mother said. We were going to tell you eventually. Once the business took off and Kevin could refinance. The business hasn't taken off, I said, my voice rising. The business has been failing for a year, and now I'm $95,000 in debt for a company I've never worked for. We'll figure it out, my mother said. We always do. Those words. We always do. The family motto for making Maya absorb everyone else's failures. No, I said. I'm going to the police. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. You wouldn't, Kevin said. Watch me. My mother stepped forward. Maya, think about what you're saying. Kevin could go to prison. He should go to prison. He committed a felony. Over money? You'd send your own brother to prison over money? Over $95,000. Over my credit. Over my daughter's future. Over the fact that you all knew and helped him do this to me. My father spoke up. What if we pay you back? Work out a payment plan? For a moment, for one stupid moment, I considered it. A payment plan. Something in writing. Accountability without criminal charges. Maybe that could work. Maybe I could salvage something from this wreck. What kind of payment plan? We'd need time to figure out the details, my father said. But we'd make it right. I want it notarized. Legally binding. With a timeline, Kevin laughed. I'm not signing anything legal. What if I can't make a payment? You'll sue me? You already owe me $95,000. I could sue you now. My mother's face hardened. If you go to the police, Maya, you're not welcome in this family anymore. I looked around the room. My father, staring at the floor. My mother, arms crossed, ready for war. My brother, smirking like this was all a joke. Then I guess I'm not welcome in this family anymore. I drove home with the folder still in my lap, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Lily was at daycare. I had 3 hours before pickup. I used them to file a police report. Okay, let me pause here for a second. I want to ask you something. If you were in my position, sitting in your car outside the police station, knowing that walking through those doors would change everything, what would you do? Would you protect your brother to keep the peace? Or would you protect yourself and your daughter's future? Drop your answer in the comments. A. For keeping the peace. B. For taking action. And if you're still with me, please subscribe to the channel, because what happens next? I never saw it coming. The detective assigned to my case was a woman named Sandra Chen, early 50s, no nonsense, with the kind of eyes that had seen every version of this story before. Identity theft by family members, she said, flipping through my evidence. It's more common than people think. Family is actually the most frequent perpetrator. What happens now? We investigate. Subpoena records. Verify the forgery. If everything checks out, we present it to the DA for charges. What kind of charges? Identity theft, fraud, forgery. If he crossed state lines with any of the money, potentially federal charges too. What's the sentence? She looked at me. Up to 20 years for aggravated identity theft. Realistically? First offense, family member, he's looking at 2 to 5 years plus restitution. 2 to 5 years. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Lily. About the house we'd never live in. About 5 years of payments I hadn't authorized for a business I'd never seen. Yes, I said, I'm prepared. The investigation took 6 weeks. During that time, my family launched their own campaign. My aunt called. Your mother is devastated. She can't eat, can't sleep. Is this really worth destroying her health over? My grandmother sent a card. In my day, we handled things privately. Please reconsider, for the family's sake. My cousin posted on Facebook about how some people choose revenge over love. And 2 weeks into the investigation, my parents called a family meeting. 15 people in my parents' living room, aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother in her chair by the window, an intervention. I almost didn't go. But I needed to see it. I needed to witness exactly how far they'd go to protect Kevin over me. We're here because Maya has made a decision that affects all of us, my mother announced. She's pressing criminal charges against her own brother. Murmurs around the room, heads shaking. My Uncle Robert spoke first. Maya, I understand you're upset. But prison? For your brother? He stole $95,000 from me. Money can be replaced, my Aunt Patricia said. Family can't. Then why didn't any of you offer to help replace it? Silence. My grandmother leaned forward. In my day, women didn't involve the police in family matters. It's shameful. What's shameful is everyone in this room knowing what Kevin did and expecting me to pay for it. Kevin was sitting in the corner, silent, letting everyone else fight his battles, just like always. My mother stood up. If you don't drop these charges, Maya, you're choosing strangers over your own blood. You're choosing revenge over your family. I'm choosing myself, I said. For the first time in 29 years, I'm choosing myself. I walked out. 3 months later, Kevin was arrested. The charges were filed. And then came the part I never expected. My parents hired a lawyer. Not for Kevin, for themselves. Because the investigation had uncovered something else. Something I hadn't known. My parents hadn't just suggested Kevin use my identity. They'd helped him do it. My mother had provided my social security number from her files. My father had notarized the forged documents using his position as a notary public. They were co-conspirators. Now they were co-defendants. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, harsh lighting, the Texas state seal behind the judge's bench. I sat in the witness section with my attorney beside me. My parents were at the defense table, their lawyer shuffling papers. Kevin was at a separate table. 3 defendants, 1 case. I hadn't seen any of them since the family meeting. 3 months of silence, broken only by legal documents and subpoenas. My mother turned around once. Our eyes met. Her expression was pure contempt. The hearing began. Charges were read. All 3 pleaded not guilty. Then my attorney stood up. He was a man named David Reeves. Early 40s, former prosecutor. Someone who'd taken my case because he believed in it. Your Honor, he said. Before we proceed, I'd like to address the character statements submitted by the defense. The judge nodded. The defendants have submitted letters claiming the victim, Miss Thompson, is acting out of vindictiveness rather than legitimate grievance. They claim she's attempting to destroy her family over a financial misunderstanding. David walked toward the witness stand. I'd like to call Richard Thompson, the victim's father. My father looked confused. This wasn't supposed to happen at a preliminary hearing, but the judge allowed it. My father took the stand, swore to tell the truth. David approached him slowly. Mr. Thompson, you claim your daughter is being vindictive. Is that correct? Yes. She's always been difficult, always had a chip on her shoulder. And you believe she should have handled this privately? Within the family? Absolutely. That's what families do. David nodded. He picked up a document from his table. Mr. Thompson, how long have you known that your son was using your daughter's identity to secure this loan? My father hesitated. Since the beginning? Since 14 months ago? Yes. And in those 14 months, did you ever warn your daughter about what was happening to her credit? No. Did you ever offer to help her with the debt that was accumulating in her name? No. Did you ever suggest that your son come clean before she found out on her own? Silence. Mr. Thompson? No. We thought Kevin would have it paid off before she noticed. David set down the document. Mr. Thompson, your daughter lost her ability to buy a home because of this fraud. She has an 18-month-old child. She's been a single mother with no financial support from your family. Objection. Relevance. Kevin's lawyer called out. I'll allow it, the judge said. Continue. David turned back to my father. You knew your daughter was trying to buy a house. You knew her credit score was her most valuable asset, and you knew your son was destroying both. And you said nothing. My father's face was red. We were going to tell her. When? When Kevin's business succeeded. When he could refinance. But the business didn't succeed, did it? No. And now your daughter is $95,000 in debt for a company she's never worked for, never profited from, never even knew existed. My father said nothing. David paused. Let the silence fill the room. Mr. Thompson, I have one final question. My father looked up. In the 14 months between when you helped your son forge your daughter's signature and when she discovered the fraud, did you ever once ask her how she was doing? The courtroom went still. Did you call her on her birthday? Offer to babysit your granddaughter? Invite her to a single-family event where you weren't also hiding a crime from her? My father's hands were shaking. Did you ever, even once, treat her like a member of your family while you were actively participating in her financial destruction? My father opened his mouth. Nothing came out. 10 seconds. 20. I asked you a question, Mr. Thompson. And then my father broke. His shoulders collapsed. His head dropped. The sound that came out of him was somewhere between a cough and a sob. No, he whispered. No, we didn't. David turned to the judge. No further questions, Your Honor. The courtroom was silent. My mother was crying quietly at the defense table. Kevin was staring at the wall. And I sat in my chair, watching my father crumble, and felt something I hadn't expected. Not satisfaction. Not triumph. Release. Finally, someone had seen the truth. The case took 4 more months to resolve. Kevin accepted a plea deal. 5 years probation, 200 hours of community service, full restitution of $95,000 plus interest. If he misses a single payment, he serves 3 years. My parents' charges were reduced. They pleaded guilty to conspiracy, 18 months probation, a fine, and my father permanently lost his notary license. I sat in the courtroom when the sentences were read. I didn't cry. I didn't celebrate. I just felt tired. Afterward, my father approached me in the hallway. My mother stayed back, still angry, still blaming me. Maya. His voice was broken. I'm sorry. I looked at him, the man who'd helped steal my identity. The man who'd kept secrets while I struggled alone. I believe you, I said. But sorry doesn't fix this. What can I do? Nothing. Not right now. Maybe someday. But not now. I set my boundaries clearly. No contact with Kevin, ever. No family events where he'll be present. My mother could reach out when she was ready to take responsibility instead of blame me. My father could call, but we'd rebuild trust slowly, if at all. I'm not sure any of them will accept those terms. I'm not sure I care anymore. 6 months after the trial, I received my first restitution check. $472, a fraction of what I'm owed. But I framed it. I hung it on my wall next to Lily's drawings. Proof that actions have consequences. Proof that I mattered enough to fight for. My credit score has climbed back to 580. The fraudulent accounts are being removed one by one. My mortgage broker says I might be able to reapply in another year. The house with the backyard is gone. Someone else lives there now. But there will be other houses, other backyards, other dreams. And this time, I'll build them on a foundation that no one can steal from me. People ask if I regret it. Pressing charges. Losing my family. Watching my father cry in open court. Honestly, sometimes, some nights, I pick up my phone to text Kevin something stupid. A memory from childhood. A joke only he would understand. Then I remember, and the absence hits all over again. I miss the family I thought I had. I miss Sunday dinners where I felt like I belonged. I miss the fantasy that the people who raised me would protect me. But that family was never real. The real family let me struggle alone while they planned how to use me. The real family asked me to sacrifice my future so Kevin wouldn't face consequences. The real family called me vindictive for refusing to be a victim. I don't miss them. I miss who I wished they were. My therapist helped me understand something important. Kevin wasn't evil, he was enabled. Our parents had rescued him from every failure, every consequence, every hard lesson life tried to teach him. When his business struggled, he didn't know how to face it. He only knew how to find someone else to absorb the damage. And me? That independence was the price of survival. I gave Kevin my social security number because I never learned I had the right to say no, not to family. Especially not to family. But Lily will learn different. She'll learn that boundaries aren't betrayal, that protecting yourself isn't selfish, that love doesn't mean accepting abuse. That family is a verb, not just a noun, and people who hurt you don't get to hide behind the word. She'll learn these things because I'll teach her, because I finally learned them myself. So here's what I want you to take from my story. First, trust is earned, not automatic. Blood doesn't equal safety. Second, the people who call you dramatic for setting boundaries are usually the ones who benefit from you having none. Third, choosing yourself isn't cruel. It's necessary. You have the right to say no. You have the right to protect your future. You have the right to walk away from people who see you as a resource instead of a person. Even if those people raised you. Even if those people share your last name. Even if those people call it love. That's my story. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the whole thing. If any part of this felt familiar, if you've ever been the invisible one in your own family, if you've ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your self-respect, I see you. Please share your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to Serene Drama Stories. Check the description for related videos. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.